Hey yo, what's going on with the viewers of the tube? I know things got pretty nasty last week and into this week. The bears are out of hibernation, but there was always a light at the end of the crypto tunnel. If this is a crypto winter, the perma bulls don't hibernate, we feast, and feast we will, because it's time for Chico Crypto. Well, we gotta start this episode off with Bitcoin. You can't sugarcoat it. We are definitely at a critical point and level in this Bitcoin cycle. Pulling out the chart since the beginning of September 2020, and when the big run happened, 30K has provided support on 3 occasions. First, end of January 2021. Second, middle of July 2021. And finally here in mid-May 2022. Now the question on many people's minds is, will this support hodl? Or are we going to break through it, crashing to new lows this cycle hasn't seen? Well, looking back to the last cycle, in which the big bull run began in 2017, there was another support level, which was critical many times over. This was around 6K, which provided support first in mid-November of 2017, then again in the beginning of February 2018, then again mid-April 2018, then again late June, again the next month July, and then the next month August, before leveling off at it through September to November of that year. Now, if you know me, what do I always say? The more things change, the more they stay the same. So I believe we are going to be seeing 30K many more times in the near future, up, down, and all around it. So why do I think this? Well, looking back since the all-time high of this cycle, Bitcoin has been in a bearish downtrend since November 10th, which as of today makes it 191 days of a bear market. How long did the last bear cycle take, and when was critical support broken? Well, the peak came December 17th, 2017, and the critical support of 6K was lost November 14th, 2018. That was 333 days. The official bear bottom of 3K for that cycle came shortly after, December 16th, 2018. Just 1 day less than a year later, 364 days to reach the bottom from the all-time high. So obviously, if things are going to be the same, we're going to do another cycle, we have much more time around the 30K support level. And we haven't hit the bottom yet, although it's not going to take as much time in my opinion. Why? Well, the cycle before 2017, which began in 2013, of course had its own downfall from around a $1,200 peak set in November 29th, 2013 to its official bottom, which came January 13th, 2015. That was a top to bottom cycle of 410 days. So the top to bottoms are actually decreasing in time. 2017-2018 was 364 days, which was 46 days less than the 2013-2015 of 410 days, or an 11.2% decrease. So what is an 11.2% decrease from 364? That is about 323 days. So remember, we are 191 days into this bear market, which if the bottom comes around 323 days after the top, it means we have just 132 days left. That would mean the bottom of this cycle will come around my birthday, September 28th, 2022. That's not that far away. We can hodl on. But my friends, there are going to be some killer opportunities in the coming months. Bear markets, especially bottoms, are where millionaires are made. Remember, I said in the last cycle, the bottom came in the middle of December of 2018. Well, guess what I did around that time? I reallocated my portfolio, getting out of NEO and going heavy into, well, let's just hear from me back then. The first project is absolutely critical for the Ethereum ecosystem, and I have featured it on my channel multiple times, going all the way back to when I first started the channel in September of 2017. If you can't tell from the thumbnail, that project is Chainlink. Yep, I got into Chainlink 2 months after the bear market low, around February 22nd to be exact. aka I sniped Chainlink at 46 cents. That means at its peak of $52.70, I made returns of 11,356%. And even at the lows we are now, I still have a return of over 1,500%. Like I said, these bear market lows are where millionaires are made. And I'm going to be covering the next Chainlinks. This bottom's altcoins I'm going to snipe very soon. But before we get into that, it's time for a sponsored segment of this video, brought to you by Sora. And like always, the details of our arrangement can be found in the description. Sora, the blockchain ecosystem for the interoperable future. It's build time, and the Sora community recently launched a decentralized development grants program called the Sora Builders Program, which incentivizes and supports teams looking to build or port their dApps to the Sora network. We're talking full integration with their DeFi platform PolkaSwap, mentorship, expert support for building with Substrate, and funding grants in XOR. Two innovative projects, Noir and Sora, took advantage of the Builders Program successfully, releasing dApps this week on the Sora network. Sora with their Demeter farming platform, and Noir with the first of its kind Phygital wine token and marketplace. Sora is one of the first projects to build on Sora, specializing in the development of DeFi services and utilities for projects on the Sora network and tokens on PolkaSwap. The Sora team has previously released several key functions on Sora, and through the power of the Sora Builders Program, Sora just launched the Demeter farming platform, a major innovation in DeFi farming, allowing users to farm multiple pools with the same LPs and provide farming as a service feature, so projects can provide LP and staking services for their tokens without additional coding. Liquidity providers will be able to farm and stake the Demeter token, DEO, and receive PSwap as an additional reward on select trading pairs. Additionally, as of May 16th, the Sora community will reward XOR DAI LPs with XSTUSD every week. Noir is at the intersection between physical and digital as the world's first Phygital wine. Noir is both a sparkling wine and digital token, setting new standards for dynamically priced collectibles and luxury goods of the future. On May 16th, Noir minted 777 Noir tokens on the Sora network for their new sparkling rosé, New Moon. And here's the physical version of this spectacular wine in all of its glory. And the 16th of May has great significance as it coincides with the blood moon and a total lunar eclipse, serving as an ode to Noir's unique composition. This Méthode Traditionnelle wine is comprised of 100% Grenache grapes, handpicked under the full moon in 2019 from an organically grown estate vineyard in the Santa Rita Hills of California. The grapes were destemmed, crushed, pressed, and settled before being racked into neutral French oak for fermentation and aging, and finished with a final dosage under the new moon. Now, let's try it. Woo! She's a sparkly one. Now that's good. Noir's fixed supply of 777 tokens and bottles truly represents its rarity. Noir can be purchased with XOR and sold or redeemed for bottles on Noir.digital and follows an XYK continuous pricing curve, meaning every Noir token sold increases the cost of the next. However, it can be also sold back into the liquidity pool at any time, thus creating a marketplace for Noir. Redeemers will receive an official redemption NFT per bottle, which is your VIP pass in real life, and creates verifiable on-chain proof of your bottle's authenticity and ownership. The first drink, even though I've already had one, and the moon party and tasting will take place on the 25th of May in Davos, Switzerland, as part of the Global Blockchain Business Council. DEO and Noir tokens are now available on PolkaSwap, including fractional shares of Noir. if interested in getting exposure but don't feel like you need to own a full token. And for you builders and devs, make sure to check out the Sora Builders program in greater detail on Telegram and submit your project to the program through their easy to fill online form. Links to the forum, Sora and Noir are in the description. So now we're Chico in a wine one, but actually now back to finding this bottom's altcoin all-stars, aka the next Chainlinks. Now if you didn't know, Chainlink is an infrastructure coin, a decentralized Oracle network coin that fell out of the top coins, out of the top 100 in February of 2019. I knew that infrastructure was going to be critical for Ethereum. I said that in the video. The first project is absolutely critical for the Ethereum ecosystem. There is a coin that has fallen out of the top 100. Shoot, it's even getting close to the bottom of the top 200. And it's critical for the Ethereum ecosystem and beyond. Multiple blockchains rely on it, just like Chainlink. Yup, if you know, you know. I'm talking about the Pocket Network. I actually recently went heavy into Pocket, and I'm about to go even heavier. I see what it is and where it has fallen to. It's just too juicy not to pick up. So what is Pocket? Well, Pocket Network is a Web3 infrastructure middleware protocol, just like Chainlink. Usually, oracles are centralized, but Chainlink allows smart contracts to be decentralized by allowing data from the outside world to flow into them on blockchains through a network of oracle nodes. As of now, it's a network of over 350 Oracle nodes. So what does Pocket primarily do? It's all about RPC, remote procedure calls. RPC is a standard for a computer program to talk to another computer program over a network. In the Ethereum or blockchain world, when it's mentioned, it means people are usually talking about the way a wallet or browser talks to an Ethereum node to ask it about something on the blockchain or send it a transaction. In this context, a node accepting RPC calls is called an RPC endpoint. People who want to make Ethereum RPC calls without running their own node often use an RPC endpoint hosted by Infura, which is a majority of wallets, users, and dApps. And Infura is centralized. If it goes down from time to time, which it does when attacked, it's not good for the world of decentralized Web3. Pocket Network decentralizes this with a network of nodes that communicate with external blockchains. How many nodes? Well, it's a lot bigger than Chainlink 356. There's over 47,000 staked nodes on the Pocket Network. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom, Mr. Worldwide as I step in the room.
Now, you don't have to look deep down in the market cap rankings to find a bottom all-star. There could be even one sitting in the top 10. What do I mean? Well, let me try and explain. As we know, Ethereum is the second highest ranked crypto, with a market cap of about 250 billion, even with these low prices. So am I talking about Ethereum? No. Now, as we know, Ethereum is completing the merge this year, scheduled for sometime in Q3, Q4. It's when the blockchain moves completely to proof of stake and sets it up to scale through sharding. Although sharding will take some time to happen, and we all know how slow upgrades happen with Ethereum. Well, there is a top 10 coin, actually ranked number 10, who has already done what Ethereum is attempting to do. That is Polkadot. And Polkadot has just a $12 billion market cap, so it has a lot of room to grow, as it already has a version of proof of stake called nominated proof of stake, and it already has sharding called parachains. People don't realize what Polkadot does better than any other smart contract blockchain. Of course, it scales better, but it also provides better security at significantly lower costs. So how? Well, this is achieved through one common relay chain on which other blockchains, parachains, are hooked in, thereby participating in the consensus mechanism of the whole network. But something big just happened with DOT, which I think will take years for Ethereum to complete. Polkadot just delivered on its promise of becoming a fully interoperable multi-chain ecosystem by releasing XCM, its cross-consensus message format. This upgrade allows Polkadot's runtime to enable parachain-to-parachain messaging over XCM. XCM allows communication not just between the parachains themselves, but also smart contracts, dApps, and substrate palettes. What this means is there are no bridges. The messages, which can send tokens, NFTs, data, and more going through the XCM channels, have the same security measures as Polkadot's central hub, Relay Chain. And as we know, bridge attacks are one of the single biggest points of failure for blockchains. Hackers are able to steal billions in the crypto ecosystem, but not on Polkadot. All I have to say, Gavin Wood, is Mamacita. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.